There's definitely parallels between dance and science. You know, quite often I sort of say, you don't really do grand jeta by halves, you know, you practice and you execute the move well. And that's similar with research. You don't really do a PhD by halves, you do it full out.
Rolling? Okay, come on in.
When I was 10 years old, I did a summer school at the Australian Ballet School. I told my mum I wanted to do ballet every day for my career.
We're gonna add a turn here.
Basically, I did 20 hours a week of ballet all the way through my teen years, and I graduated with a diploma of dance elite performance. At the end of that period, I acquired disabilities. I was very sick. I had, from what is understood, a post-viral infectious syndrome where I had my immune system or a virus attacked various nerves in my body and my brain. Yeah, I went from being very fit to basically having, every time I would stand up, I would almost pass out. I didn't step away from ballet by choice. That was sort of forced on me in some ways.
The change from dance to science was sort of, I guess, gradual. It didn't happen overnight.
When I acquired disabilities, I sort of lost the community I had in ballet. It was through volunteering that I really established that community and established that passion for the environment at the time and, you know, things that I cared about. This crosses over for my PhD. You know, I'm working on better electrolytes that are more environmental from a green chemistry lens.
Come on in to the spectroscopy lab. As I sort of started first year, you know, at Deakin with no real passion for any particular scientific area, and by the end of first year I was passionate for chemistry and had that real eagerness to learn more and search out knowledge in that area. So my elevator pitch is basically that if you have a door of a carbon fibre car that has a battery actually included in the actual structure of the door rather than a separate battery in that car, the car can go further, it can charge further, it can last longer, and you'll actually end up with a more efficient vehicle. And you actually save on energy and mass if you have, instead of a separate battery and a separate door, if you have a combined battery and door all in one structure at the same time. The research I do is working on optimizing solid polymer electrolytes that are specifically designed to work with carbon fiber energy storage systems. My research is very focused on prototyping, so every time I take a new electrolyte through that process, I always apply the electrolyte at the end to actually see if the optimized electrolyte actually results in improved properties in the actual end device. So that's the end application of all my research, is basically making carbon fiber structural batteries with these electrolytes. Something that's really hard to navigate with the PhDs. It has to be original research and it has to be an original contribution, which means it has to be at the edge of what's known. At Deakin, we have quite a culture of excellence where we strive to really be at the forefront of research and really breaking down barriers. You know, many people in research, we have quite a drive to do things well and have impact. We're in Australia, firefighting is always going to be a high priority. If my battery research and electrolyte research is continued to be developed, then potentially I could see it implemented in a car in 50 years' time, and you know, we may not have the issue of flammable battery electrolytes and you know the various issues around firefighting. Good day. Hello. Postdoc.
What's up?
Deakin really allows you to grow and apply yourself, you're working in a team, you pull together as a team when you need to. They're always very constant support. Baggy's just been such a great leader in the team, and when I think about my own PhD, I always sort of thought, well, I want to, see what Baggy did at this point. In many ways, she's a great role model to emulate.
Some people, before even trying, they say, oh, that's not going to work, I will not do that. But you have to, being a good scientist, you have to at least give it a try before you rule it out. And I think Tim's a good PhD student like that.
So when I look back at videos from back in the day, and even photos of me dancing and sort of doing big split jumps, for example, it is like a different world. It is like a different Tim. I didn't really understand what disability was before acquiring disability. And now, I see barriers, everywhere.
It's been an up and down journey. For so long I was overcoming so many barriers and so focused on just surviving that I didn't live in some ways. But now I guess I'm reaping the benefits of all that hard work. I do that through my research, where I'm working towards a better future of renewable energy storage, and I do that in disability advocacy, where I'm working towards a better, more accessible future for the whole of society. I've served across 6 boards now, and this year that advocacy journey has actually taken me all the way to speaking at the United Nations in New York. While we have adversity that shapes our lives, it's quite an Australian thing to not focus that on solely yourself, but focus that in a productive way on contributing for the betterment of society. Doors open and close, your path zigzags in a direction that, I guess when you look back on it, it's, you've learned from it, you've grown from it, it's something that shapes you. So if I was to speak to my younger self 10 years ago, before this journey of acquiring disability, I guess I would say, you're going to survive. Keep at it, keep persistent.
Through sickness, through injuries, I think, that determination doesn't go away.